There's a new development in my experience with no-ox ID and track cleaning, and I'm going to tell you all about it on Ron's Trains and Things right now. Hi, I'm Ron of Ron's Trains and Things, and over the past couple of years, I have talked to you several times about no-ox ID as a track treatment to help prevent oxidation and to promote good electrical conductivity. I've talked about no-ox in conjunction with conversations about track cleaning, and I've told you how no-ox reduces the need for track cleaning on your layout as you use it as a track treatment. Well, up until about 3 years ago, I cleaned my track pretty much the way almost everyone does, using Bright Boys and isopropyl alcohol. Well, about 5 years ago, I learned about no-ox ID from some friends who have layouts that I operate on periodically. I was really interested to know how no-ox worked, so a few months later, I ordered a jar, and it sat on a shelf for a year. But about 2.5 years ago, I decided to give no-ox a real try and applied it to a portion of the visible portion of my layout. I actually applied it to about a third of my main line and one long passing siding. Now, I only applied it to a portion of the layout for a couple of important reasons. Primarily, I wanted to be able to compare the track that was treated with no-ox to the track that was not treated over time, to see how no-ox actually worked as far as promoting conductivity, reducing oxidation, and also reducing the need for cleaning. And that was an interesting comparison, again, over the course of the past 2.5 years, and I've been pretty pleased with the way the no-ox has worked up until recently, and that's what this video is really about today. Now, I first shared my experience with no-ox in a video 2 years ago titled Stop Cleaning Your Track on Your Model Railroad. And in that particular video, I talked about the science of track cleaning, talked about a wide variety of track cleaning products and solvents, talked about positives and negatives of things like polar and non-polar solvents, and I talked to you about track treatment using no-ox. Now, that was a long video, but there was a lot of great information in that video. It's had 200,000 views over time, but if you haven't seen it, I really recommend that you watch it, and I'll post a link to it in an end screen at the end of this video. I also posted an update a year ago about how I felt about the no-ox and how it was working over the course of over a year of having it on my layout, and those reviews were very positive. I was very, very happy with no-ox a year ago, and I'd also recommend that video, again, if you would just like to learn more. Well, as I said a few moments ago, there are some new developments in my no-ox experience, and I'm going to tell you all about them right after this. This video is brought to you by Midwest Model Railroad. Now with 15,000 square feet and one-day shipping, they truly are your one-stop model railroad shop. MidwestModelRR.com. Link in the description. Now, I personally know people who, using no-ox, have been able to avoid track cleaning for 5 and even 10 years. And in fact, I was such a believer a year ago that I went ahead and applied no-ox to my helix. Partly because I was tired of cleaning the helix, and also partly because I wanted to see how it affected tractive effort, as many people were asking those questions. What I discovered was that applying no-ox correctly, just a thin film to the helix, caused me to lose very, very little traction on the helix. 2% grade up that helix, and I only lost the ability to pull about 1 car per train by applying no-ox. That was a reasonable trade-off to me. The issues began about a month ago when I began to notice that the portion of my layout that I had originally treated with no-ox was beginning to have locomotives sputter and stop, much as they had done and would do on the untreated portions of the layout. I gave that area a dusting, as I have done many times, but the problem continued. So it became very clear to me I was going to have to clean some track. Now, I didn't scrub this track hard. I used my solvent of choice, which for me is odorless mineral spirits. Again, if you watch that original video, I'll explain why that is my cleaner of choice. I used it on a soft, lint-free cloth and simply gave a good wipe down to the tracks on the entire layout, including the no-ox treated portions. So, is this a no-ox fail? My answer is going to be a resounding no, and I'm going to give you a couple of reasons why. First of all, I mentioned before that I have a pretty dusty basement. We have a yard that is kind of in the woods. It's a dusty lawn, and so a lot of that dust filters into the house. On top of that, and exacerbating that problem, we've been doing some remodeling upstairs over the last year, which has created a lot of dust, including drywall dust. And there is no way to seal off my basement. It's an open spiral staircase that connects it to the upstairs, and so a lot of that dust has filtered down into the train room and onto the layout. On top of that, one of the best ways to keep your track clean and running well is to run trains regularly. And for a long list of life reasons that I won't go into now, I have not run my trains more than sporadically over the course of the last 12 months. In fact, from October to February, I went almost 4 months without ever turning on the layout. So that allowed that dust to really settle into the layout itself. And when I cleaned the layout, I both wiped up and vacuumed up tons of dust and lint and dog hair off of my layout. No matter what your environment is or what you do to try to protect your layout, from time to time, you're just going to have to do some spring cleaning. And that's what I needed to do on mine, not only to the track, but to the whole layout. So I've spent some time doing that cleaning, and it has made an incredible difference. No-ox is a treatment to help you reduce oxidation and promote electrical conductivity, but it cannot keep dust and dirt from settling on your layout, and ultimately those things from time to time are going to have to be cleaned. I believe that as we finish the remodeling upstairs and as I run trains more regularly, that I'll be able to go longer periods of time before I have to actually do track cleaning. But to be honest, 2.5 years that I went without doing any actual track cleaning is far and away the longest I've ever gone, and longer than most people are able to go without cleaning track. Usually, I had to clean untreated track at least every month, and sometimes every single time I ran trains. That's the experience a lot of people have, and even then it didn't always run really consistently. So I still really believe in no-ox. I think it's a fantastic product, and I think it does its job very well. So, after I cleaned my layout, I reapplied no-ox to the areas that had no-ox before, and I decided to go ahead and apply it to the entire layout. I'm still finishing up that process, but the whole layout is running better than it ever has before. I believe in no-ox, and I also recommend no-ox, especially if you apply it correctly. A micro-thin film on clean track to help produce a good, consistent electrical conductivity. Now, if you haven't tried no-ox and you'd like to give it a try, 1 2-ounce jar, I promise, will be a lifetime supply, and I'm going to put a link to it in my Amazon Pick of the Week in the description down below. You may want to give that a try. And if you'd like to see my previous videos on no-ox and track cleaning, check out the links on your screen. And be sure and join me on Tuesdays as I bring you even more great model railroad videos, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. 10, Lizzie?